Shalom and welcome back to another Torah portion reading. This one is called VaYachi, and it literally means "and he lived," talking about Jacob. And it goes from Genesis 47:28 to the end of the the end of Genesis, which is chapter 50, verse 26. And we'll begin. And Joseph lived in the land of Egypt, also known in Hebrew as Mitzrayim. That'll come in important later on. Mitzrayim means Egypt. And Yaakov lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years, so the length of Yaakov's life was 147 years. When the time drew near that Israel must die, he called his son Joseph and said to him, "Now if I have found favor in your sight, please put your hand under my thigh and deal kindly and truly with me. Please do not bury me in Mitzrayim, but let me lie with my fathers. You shall carry me out of Mitzrayim and bury me in their burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." Then he said, "Swear to me." And he swore to him. So Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. These 4 verses mirror the last 4 verses of our Torah portion, or the last 4 verses in Genesis. Chapter 48. Now it came to pass after these things that Joseph was told, "Indeed, your father is sick," and he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Yaakov was told, "Look, your son Joseph is coming to you." And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. Then Yaakov said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said to me, 'Behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I shall make of you a multitude of people, and give this land to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession.' And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mitzrayim, before I came to you in Mitzrayim, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. Your offspring, whom you beget after them, shall be yours. They will be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. But as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan, on the way when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, and I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem." Then Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, "Who are these?" Joseph said to his father, "These are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place." And he said, "Please bring them to me, and I will bless them." Now the eyes of Israel were dim with age, so that he could not see. Then Joseph brought them near him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, "I had not thought to see your face, but in fact Elohim has also shown me your offspring." So Joseph brought them from beside his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near him. Then Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, guiding his hands knowingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, "Ha-Elohim, before whom my fathers Abraham and Yitzhak walked, Ha-Elohim, who has fed me all my life long to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads. Let my name be upon them. Let my name be named upon them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Yitzhak, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth." Now when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him. So he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations, or goyim. So he blessed them that day, saying, By you Israel will bless, saying, May Elohim make you as Ephraim and Manasseh. And thus he set Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am dying, but Elohim will be with you and bring you back to the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite with my sword and my bow. Chapter 49. And Yaakov called his sons and said, Gather together, that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days, or latter days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov, and listen to Israel your father. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water you shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honor be united to their assembly. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Yaakov, and scatter them in Israel. Yehuda, you are he whom your brother shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down. He lies down as a lion, and as a lion who shall rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine, and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his border shall adjoin Sidon. In Lebanon. Issachar is a strong donkey. Lying down between two burdens, he saw that rest was good, and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a band of slaves. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider shall fall backward. And then, in the middle of the children's blessings, Yaakov says, I have waited for your salvation, Yahovah, which in Hebrew is Li Shuat Ha. Li Shuat Ha. Kiveti Yahovah. Do you recognize that word as Yeshua? And Yahovah. Interesting. But we'll continue. Gad. Verse 19. Gad, a troop shall tramp upon him, but he shall triumph at last. Bread from Asher shall be rich, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a deer let loose. He uses beautiful words. Joseph is a fruitful bough by a well. His branches run over the wall. The archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him and hated him, but his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty of Yaakov. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. From Me'el, of your father who will keep you. VaYachi Shaddai. VaYachi is standalone Aleph and Tav with Shaddai. It's usually El Shaddai, like El there, but this time it's a standalone Aleph and Tav Shaddai. VaYachi Shaddai, who will bless you with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb, the blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors, up to the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who is separate from his brothers. And lastly, Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father spoke to them, and he blessed them. He blessed each one according to his own blessing. Then he charged them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephraim the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephraim the Hittite, as a possession for a burial place. There they buried Abraham and Sarah, his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rivkah, his wife, and there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is there were purchased from the sons of Chet. And when Yaakov had finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Chapter 50. Then Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were required for him, for such are the days required for those who are embalmed. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. Now when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spoke to the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, please speak in the hearing of Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, Behold, I am dying. In my grave which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan, there you shall bury me. Now therefore, please let me go up and bury my father, and I will come back. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear. So Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mitzrayim, as well as all the house of Joseph, his brothers, and his father's house. Only their little ones, their flocks and their herds, they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great gathering. Then they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, and they mourned there with a great and very solemn lamentation. He observed 7 days of mourning for his father. And when the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, This is a deep mourning of the Egyptians. Therefore its name was called Abel Mitzrayim, which is beyond the Jordan. Mitzrayim being Egypt, like the morning of Egypt. So his sons did for him just as he had commanded them. For his sons carried him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, which Abraham bought with the field from Ephraim the Hittite, as property for a burial place. And after he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers, and all who went up with him to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "Perhaps Joseph will hate us, and may actually repay us for all the evil which we did to him." So they sent to Joseph, saying, "Before your father died, he commanded, saying, Thus you shall say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the trespass of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the trespass of the servants of Eloheim of your father." And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, "Behold, we are your servants." Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid, for am I in the place of Elohim? But as for you, you meant evil against me, but Elohim meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive. Now therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones." And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. So Joseph dwelt in Egypt, or Mitzrayim, he and his father's household. And Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. The children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were also brought up on Joseph's needs. And Joseph said to his brethren, "I am dying. Elohim will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov." Then Joseph took an oath from the children of Israel, saying, "Elohim will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here." So Joseph died 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Mitzrayim. The Haftorah portion is 1 Kings 2, verse 1 through 12. And at the end of every book of the Torah, everyone says, "Hazak, Hazak, Vanit Hazak," which means, be strong, and let us strengthen one another. Shalom.